In this video, we're going to talk about graph using standard form. So standard form is going to be an equation that you guys are used to seeing. It looks like ax plus by equals c. An example of that would be something like this: 5x plus 2y equals 10. That's something that we have seen this year. We haven't graphed it, but we've worked with it, and we've actually solved for one of the variables. It's called solving literal equations. We had that on our first test. So that's going to be one of the things that we're going to use today, because we want to solve for y to get it into slope-intercept form. We want to change it into slope-intercept form so that it's easy to graph. So our first example is going to be graph the equation 4x plus 2y equals 4. So the first thing that we're going to do is we want to solve and put it in y equals mx plus b. In order to do that, that means I need to get y by itself. So how do I get y by itself? The first thing that I do is I'm going to take y, I'm going to move this 4x to the other side. So I'm going to subtract 4x from both sides. So the 2y is still there, but then what happens here is I get a negative 4x and a positive 4. Don't forget, I can't combine these together because they are not like terms, so I just have to write out what's going on. So in order to get y by itself, remember this is multiplication, so I divide everything by 2. And what I get is I get the equation y equals negative 4 divided by 2 is negative 2x. 4 divided by 2 is a positive 2. So I get this as my slope-intercept equation. Now my slope is negative 2. My y-intercept is positive 2. Now I come over and I make my graph. My y-intercept is 2, put it on the graph. My slope is negative 2, which I make that negative 2 over 1. So I go down 2, right 1, because remember it's a negative movement and a positive movement. Rise over run, rise over run, put my points on the graph, and draw my line. Okay? The next example, I'm going to put this in slope-intercept form. I need to get y by itself. So I'm going to take this x, since it's a positive x, and I'm going to subtract it from both sides. And I get y equals 3 and negative x can't go together, so I put them as negative x plus 3. Just write out what's going on. My slope, remember, there's a negative 1 there, so my slope is negative 1. My y-intercept is 3. So what I do is I go positive 1, positive 2, positive 3 for my y-intercept. My slope is negative 1, so make it a fraction, negative 1 over 1. I go down 1, right 1, because I have to go in negative motion. Down 1, positive 1, down 1, positive 1. And there is my 3 points, actually more than that, to create my line. Next example, solve for y. I want to get that y by itself. So I subtract the 4x, because it's a positive 4x. So when I subtract the 4x, I'm going to get negative 3y equals negative 4x plus 6, because the 4x and 6 are not like terms. I need to divide by negative 3, because that's multiplication. That's what I'm getting rid of, is the multiplication, not the negative. So I divide by negative 3, and I get y equals negative 4 divided by negative 3 is 4 divided by 3. Use the calculator. The calculator will do that for you. 6 divided by negative 3 is negative 2. Again, the calculator will do that for you. My slope is 4/3. My y-intercept is negative 2. So I come over here, y-intercept of negative 2, slope of 4/3. Rise 4, run 3. Put a point, rise 1, 2, 3, 4, run 1, 2, 3, put a point, and there are my 3 points to graph my line. And notice it's not the best graph in the world, but it gets the job done. Okay? This, I believe, is the last one. Again, solve for y. Subtract the 6x from both sides, and I get negative 4y equals negative 6x plus 12. Again, the 6 and the 12 don't go together. Divide everything by negative 4 to get the multiplication to go away. So I get y equals negative 6 divided by negative 4 is 3 over 2. Again, use the calculator. Negative 6 divided by negative 4. Hit enter, math, enter, enter to convert it back to a fraction. Don't forget the variable x. 12 divided by negative 4 is negative 3. My slope is negative 3/2. My y-intercept is negative 3. So then I graph negative 3 on the y-axis. That's my first point. My slope is 3 over 2. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. There's my points. There's my graph. And always double check. Is my slope positive. That's a positive slope. My slope here is positive. That checks out.